Hi, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to present this exploratory analysis of live streaming's visuality. And thanks to Mary Bach for organizing this pre-conference event. So here's what I'm going to cover in this presentation. A little bit about Kik, some of the ethics of doing visual analysis, a little on the methodology, some aspects of live streaming visuality, and then finally some findings. So what is Kik? It's a free instant messaging mobile app from the Canadian company Kik Interactive, and it was created in 2019 by students from the University of Waterloo in Ontario, Canada. Uh, it's a node in an interconnected social network, and many streamers have TikTok and Snapchat, Twitter, or other internet services like the content subscription service OnlyFans. Some users advertise their content appearing on these other platforms on Kik, especially those that are pay to play and tend to be more adult oriented. And you have a few of the other stats here about Kik. So, screenshots would be ideal for visual analysis, but that's a little more complicated than first appears because you have terms of service and human subjects boards to deal with. And literally, the terms of service say that written consent is needed to use any Kik content. But how do you do this? How do you get informed consent, and especially written? I discovered a couple ways to do this, and one way is to get to know the streamer, spend time on their stream, gain their trust, and then you can ask for permission in the text channel. And I'll show how to do this in my example later in this presentation. Another way is to back channel the streamer or DM them. Each streamer has a direct message channel where you can send asynchronous text messages and you can tell them all about the study and ask for permission that way as well. All right, so the methodology, multimodal anthropology, allows for the examination of networks of relationships and communities that emerge in these social networks and are without any kind of geographic locality. They tend to be international in scope, multicultural, multilingual, multiracial, and simply put, really diverse. Social networks are often nested within a web of media platforms and communication devices utilized by both the streamer and the audience. And it helps to inform questions such as, is there a sense of community or communities in social media networking and its visuality, or are they tend to be more sporadic and weak ties amongst users? Is it a chaotic communication environment, or is it something else? So, okay, so some beginning notes on the visuality of the live streaming that I've begun to see patterns. First of all, it's tends to be vertically oriented. Okay, so oriented around a device, a handheld device, an iPhone or what have you. Um, the frame can be subdivided into many different kind of boxes and multi-frames. And so you can see split screens and quad screens and stuff. And again, you'll see an example of this later. Um, there's lots of information overlaid, graphical overlays, textual overlays onto the image. Lighting and color tends to vary widely, as do the types of shots from close-ups, long shots, etc. Okay, some demographic characteristics of what you might see in the stream. A wide range of age is represented, leaning more toward the young. Sexual orientation is broadly represented. Race, culture are also broadly represented. Occupation of the user is sometimes divulged, and you see a range of things going on in any given stream at any given time. The topics discussed are broad and change abruptly. Dress and costuming can be interesting. Sometimes, literally, a costume is worn. Um, you might see pets, background imagery um, is wide ranging, but it's primarily an indoor setting, and much more goes on, talent displays and so forth. Okay, so some preliminary findings here. Um, this is with one streamer who goes by the name of Sage, um, or her direct messaging name is Cinnamon Candid. Uh, she's a Latina, originally from Venezuela, now residing in the US. She's a transgender streamer. Um, and I'll show you here a little bit on the consent process and some of the other things about uh, streaming, such as the gifting element. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is Sage, and here's a typical shot, three instances, three shots, three screenshots. She always tends to use a high angle shot. And one time I asked her why, and she just said because she likes it. And nothing further than that. I mean, there seems to be no reasoning why she uses, except for, she has a computer below, and it's the best place to place her camera or her camera device. Okay, so after several months of interaction with Sage, disclosing information about myself as a researcher, professor, where I live generally, my interest in visual media, and so forth, I asked for permission, which you see here. I kind of circled it and pointed it out. Writing about visual aspects, and she was interested, and she, without prompt, said, why don't you take some pictures? And I thought that was great. Texted back, thanks for that. Thanks for letting me do that. And you see that here. I've circled it so you can easily see it. That, you know, acknowledging her approval and permission to take screenshots. Um, and I mentioned something here about she trusted me enough to make me a bouncer on her stream a couple of times. And as you can imagine, I mean, there are people who write some nasty messages, and you can literally kick them out of the stream um, as a bouncer. But that requires the streamer's permission, which uh, she and I have coordinated on a couple of times when I have visited her stream. So I mentioned gifting as a way to interact and be part of the streaming audience. It's a way of thanking or rewarding the streamer. Um, so clicking the box, the gift box in the lower right corner opens up a window of gifts, and you can see that here. I've circled the little gift box in that image on the left, and you can see that there's the box that opens up. And there's several pages beyond this one that I'm showing here. And the streamer collects these in the form of points. And in the green upper right-hand corner of that right-hand image I've circled, you can see the number of points that Sage has collected. And she can monetize that. I mean, Kick takes a big chunk of that. But the streamer can also collect download money um, from the gifts that they have received over time. Okay, and I've mentioned multi-frame imagery. Here's one example. Um, Sage's friend Rosie being inserted into a smaller box, and you can have a lot of these boxes filling the frame. Um, and so I just wanted to show you what that looks like. And just the various activities. Oftentimes you see drinking, smoking, and here I've eliminated on the shot of Sage playing her guitar. You see that simply clicking the frame will delete or eliminate the text, the overlay, for a more clear shot of the streamer. So there's just a few examples, a few ideas of the visuality going on, and this research, of course, is ongoing. But I thank you for allowing me to present some preliminary ideas on live streaming. Take care. Bye bye.